Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name is Danny Wells, and I am a Regional Vice President with Arbonne International Independent Consultant. It is the 7th of February today, and I just want to say a massive well done to everybody that has carved out half an hour of their evening tonight to get onto our weekly online training call. A massive, massive, massive well done for you guys that have shown up, that are listening to these calls live. Obviously they do get recorded, and it is fantastic that we have that so that people that can't get on them can listen to them in the week. But equally, it's fantastic for everybody that is on the call live that has made the time to get on. You guys are absolutely national vice presidents in the making, so a massive well done for everybody on the call tonight. So I've just got a couple of housekeeping bits to go through before I introduce our two phenomenal trainers for the evening. So if anybody wants to write this down, please do. A few dates for the diary. So I've just got a few to go through. So if you haven't already seen everything that's been going on Facebook, our team is having its first Leadership Academy. So many of us by now have been attending other teams' Leadership Academies and hearing such positive things. A lot of us went yesterday to Sarah Dunning and Scott Campbell's, and it was just amazing, absolutely amazing to go and to hear these trainers and to hear people that have shared their stories about their triumphs, about their failures, about their mistakes, how they've got back up, their advice, their golden nuggets. And it's incredible to go to other people's teams' leadership academies. But equally, it's time we did our own now. Our team is so big now that, you know, we need to do our own. So our first one, that was our first one for us guys. So the Wales region, the McCarthy region, and the Allen region, but we've joined up with the whole international team. So other regions that are where their upline is not from the UK, we've all teamed up together to do the first international team leadership academy. So you need to save the date, because this is absolutely huge for us as a team and for all of us attending, because we are going to be like pioneers. It will be a case of in 20 years time, we'll be looking back at the photos and saying, oh my gosh, can you remember the first time we had our first team leadership academy? And, you know, there's going to be a few hundred people there, but we'll be going, look how small it was. Look at what we were wearing. Look at our hair. Oh my God. So make sure you save the date for Sunday, the 13th of March. It's going to be in Kettering in Northampton, 10 till 4:30. Save the date. The tickets will go on sale towards the end of February. So save that date. That is huge. Make sure that you bring along all of your team, your friends and your family that you want to come along as well. You'll have an amazing day, I promise. The speakers are unbelievable. You wouldn't even believe the lineup of speakers that we've got. So that's the first one, Sunday the 13th of March. The next one is, you may have noticed that we've began to announce our own area retreat. So again, going back to a lot of the other teams in the UK, they've had their yearly area retreat, which is for anybody in their team that promotes to area manager, gets to go on a weekend away. And we haven't had our own one of those. So this year is the first year where we've made our own. And ours is going to be in June, on June the 18th to the 19th. So that's Saturday and Sunday in June. And the 19th is Father's Day. So we've made sure that we will be finished by lunchtime, so you can go and celebrate Father's Day towards the other half of the day. So that's June the 18th to the 19th. You will be invited to area retreat if you are paid as an area manager by that date. And for anybody that qualifies, anybody that qualifies as a new area manager by the end of May. And we're also, because it's our first one, we are going to open it up to anybody that's in area qualification as well. So if you go into area qual by the end of May, you will be invited. If it's your first time attending area retreat, which for a lot of us it will be, your region will pay for your place to go. So you just need to make sure that your regional vice president is either myself, Fiona McCarthy, Zoe Allen, Teresa Buchanan, Linda Davis-Carr, Sarah Lamore, Sarah Gaddy, and Tracy Gaddard, and area manager Aisha Ferguson. If your region is somebody else, you are obviously still welcome to come, but you'll need to check with your own region if they will pay for you to attend, because a lot of the other nations do have their own ones. But if you're in any of those regions I've just said, if it's your first time attending, you will be paid for by your regional vice president. Okay, so that's the second one. The next one is Nation Training. Our Nation Training is on March the 6th, and that's where all of the regions are coming together, and the venue is going to be in Melton Mowbray at the Sysonby Knoll Hotel. That's Monday the 6th at 7:30 till 9 p.m. And that's Nation Training, and that will be Zoomed as well. Oh, sorry, 7th was that? Oh, sorry, I've got the 6th written down. Okay, so Monday the 7th. And then we've got product training, which is February the 27th, and that's been put on by Zoe Allen. And we've also got Charlotte Whittle's car presentation on Sunday the 14th. So that's a week today, and that's in Lancashire, 2 till 4. So if anybody would like to attend that and would like details of it, just ask your upline and they will point you in the direction for that. So that's all the housekeeping. So tonight, our training, I have spoke to 2 amazing people within my region who I thought could deliver a really interesting, useful training for all of us. So because Arbonne has got so many amazing aspects to it, we're focusing on one of those aspects tonight, and that is the fact that we are vegan. Now, this is huge, and I didn't actually realise how absolutely huge this was until very recently, because a lot of other companies either aren't vegan approved or only maybe a few of their products are. The fact that we are is absolutely massive to us for promoting our business and being able to hold our heads high and say that we have the vegan stamp. So I've asked 2 people who lead a vegan lifestyle to train on how we can understand this better and use the information to share with other people that's going to help grow our business. Because for myself, I didn't really understand what vegan meant 18 months ago. To be honest, I didn't really know actually. And now I know so much more about it. And it's something that I actually lead with now when I talk to other people about the business. It's actually one of the first things that I say now. And I wish I'd known what I know now 18 months ago. So this is why tonight we've got 2 people training on how you can maximize the information that we are vegan to other people. So I'm just going to unmute our 2 trainers. So we've got Bianca Townsend. I'm just trying to find her on the thing. Oh, and Stacey. There's Bianca. Unmute you, Bianca.
Hi.
Hi. Stacey, have you unmuted? No, I'm just going to try and find Stacey.
Done it.
Have you unmuted, Stacey?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so who's going first?
Me.
Okay, so did you want to introduce yourself and then share your fantastic training with us?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Townsend, and thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks so much for taking the time out this evening to listen to Stacey and myself talk about veganism. And as Danny said, hopefully you'll find a lot of what we say quite useful. I'll start off by saying that we're not experts or nutritionists in any way. We can only talk from our point of view, from the research that we've done. And likewise, anything we say doesn't mean we necessarily speak for the entire vegan community. Stacey and myself come from different backgrounds, and different events took place in our lives that made us choose veganism. And this is the case for all vegans. We all have our own reasons and we're all on our own journeys. So yeah, I hope that you find this talk interesting and the information we give can help your business in some way when it comes to approaching vegans. I'll give a little disclaimer though. Anything that I say isn't meant to offend or upset anybody. It's just about sharing information and raising awareness. So just before I start, I'll give you a bit of a background into why I joined Arbonne. And I was a midwife for 13 years, which was fine. It's a respectable career and I had some great experiences, and I have some lovely memories from it. But I wouldn't say it was really my calling. And unfortunately, I developed a heart condition that results in arrhythmia, and this is exacerbated by stress. And it got to the stage where the long and unsocial hours and the busy, stressful wards kept triggering this arrhythmia. So in the end, I decided to leave midwifery. There were some other personal issues going on as well, like anxiety and some other family issues. And it just seemed like the right thing to do. But then I felt lost for a while, for a few years actually, not knowing really what to do. And just prior to Christmas, I went to a vegan fair and someone was holding an Arbonne stall. And I loved the products, but walked away thinking, well, they can't be that good because I've never heard of the company before. And then I met Danny on a vegan group on Facebook and noticed that she too worked with Arbonne. and thought, well, that's odd, I've never heard of it before. And then it's come across in my life twice in as many weeks. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I basically harassed Danny on New Year's Day on Messenger, and we chatted literally all day. And it didn't really take much convincing for me to sign up. And for me personally, the fact that the company produces vegan products and is built on a good ethical foundation was the real selling point. And here I am. So moving on to veganism. So I often hear vegans labelled as odd or strange. We're hippies, activists. We always seem to get clubbed together. For example, all vegans do this. Vegans are opinionated. Vegans are judgmental. We're angry. We're preachy. And sure, you know, there are some angry and opinionated vegans out there, but no more than meat eaters. You know, vegans are passionate about their beliefs, but essentially we are compassionate people who don't wish to inflict harm on other living beings. And we wouldn't go around saying all white people do this, or all homosexual people think this, that, or the other. So what I would say is, just like Arbonne consultants don't like to be compared to cult members, try to avoid judging your potential vegan client before you've met them, and try to understand their beliefs and motivation. Eliminate any preconceived ideas you have, and get to understand the individual and their interests so that you can tailor your care and provide individualised consultations. Vegans are a minority group. We often face ridicule and discrimination, but we are actually protected by international human rights laws, and we are entitled to basic respect from colleagues and bosses and peers. What I will say is all vegans agree on one thing, and that is that animal cruelty and exploitation for human gain is wrong and immoral. And to criticise this really is to be in favour of the alternative, which is animal abuse. My personal story when it comes to vegetarianism is I became vegetarian when I was 15, which sadly was 25 years ago. After watching a video at school about an abattoir. And while I knew the meat I ate up to that point came from animals, I rather naively, you could argue, didn't think how that happened. I guess I've been sheltered and protected from the truth by my parents and society, and this still happens today. You know, there are reasons why slaughterhouses don't have glass walls and why parents don't take their kids on day trips to the abattoir. But they'll happily take them to see the cute animals at the farm or the wildlife park or the zoo. Well, you could say I had an awakening after that video, and from that point on I refused to eat meat. I also stopped eating food that contained animal ingredients like gelatin, which you find in like chewy sweets. I stopped buying leather and products that were tested on animals or contained animal ingredients. But I did continue to eat dairy and eggs, and I thought that what I was doing was good enough. I then became vegan just over a year ago after watching a speech by an animal rights activist called Gary Yourofsky. He's quite a controversial character, but this video is fantastic. And if any of you would like to watch it to learn a bit more about veganism, then take a look at that. It's called The Best Speech You Will Ever Hear. And after watching that, I realised that by eating dairy and eggs, I was actually supporting the meat industry, because the dairy and egg industry are the meat industry. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. At this point, though, I'd like to share a definition of veganism. So veganism is a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of humans, animals, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. So some people may be vegan for health, and Stacey will briefly go into a bit more detail about that. They may be vegan for the environment, and some may be vegan for the animals, or it might be a combination of all of those factors. But in a nutshell, veganism is a social justice movement, and I'll give some examples now to explain some of our beliefs. And again, I'll just repeat, anything I say isn't intended to upset anyone, but just to raise awareness. So as vegans, we do not think that it's okay for trillions of animals to be bred and slaughtered for their flesh to be consumed by humans. I've got some feedback coming there. I don't know how that's happening. Or for dairy cows to be artificially inseminated to force pregnancy upon them. Then after birth, we remove the calf so that we can steal their mother's milk for our own consumption. The calf is either destroyed, sent off to a veal farm, or becomes a dairy cow themselves. The mothers grieve for their babies that are removed, as would any mother who has a child taken away. We don't think it's okay for chickens to have their eggs removed to be consumed by humans. Naturally, a hen would only lay until her nest is complete, which is actually only about 12 eggs a year. But the egg industry interrupts this natural process by constantly removing the eggs, which makes the chickens lay more eggs. And this requires great effort and strain on the chicken, and many die due to damage caused to their laying organs. And every egg also involves a huge loss of calcium from the hen, and consequently hens only have a short laying life, which is approximately 18 months, before they're no longer useful, so off they go to slaughter for all their hard work. Some do get picked up by sanctuaries, most don't, but some do. And if any of you would like to have hens of your own, then please do consider getting them from a sanctuary so that, you know, they get to live out their days happily. Also, the egg industry destroys male chicks on their first day of life by grinding them up alive. And the reason for that is because they're not profitable. And I promise you this is actually true, and I've seen it happen. So to support the egg industry actually supports this barbaric practice as well. Please don't be fooled into thinking that animals have a lovely life before they get slaughtered. British standards are better than most, but they're still exploited from the moment they're born. And also spare a thought for lambs who, you know, they can be sent to slaughter at age just 3 or 4 months. You know, they're just babies, and they never get a chance to have a life. Yet the average lifespan of a sheep is actually about 12 years. We don't think it's okay to eat honey either, as that's an animal byproduct. Many beekeepers take inhumane steps to reach production quotas, and the larger honey producers may remove the queen's actual wings so that she can't leave the colony. They may artificially inseminate her too. And when the keepers want to move her to a new colony, she will be surrounded by her bodyguard bees. And assuming they survive transport, they'll be killed by the bees in the new colony. Keepers often remove too much honey from the bees, which leaves them struggling to survive throughout winter. And if the keepers think it's too costly to keep the bees alive during winter, then they'll destroy the hives by gassing them with cyanide gas. So as you can see, it's a bit of a cruel industry, but we must respect bees, because without bees, you know, we don't survive basically. They're vital to our survival. As vegans, we also don't buy leather or wool or silk, and we avoid products that contain animal ingredients or byproducts such as hyaluronic acid, carmine, collagen, glucosamine, elastin, stearic acid, panthenol, keratin, shellac, which incidentally, they're now coating shellac on fruits and vegetables in the supermarkets. And now even fruits and vegetables are difficult to get hold of. Who would believe that fruits and vegetables wouldn't be vegan? So me personally, I'm trying to source my fruits and vegetables from other sources, but apparently the consumer wants shiny vegetables, so they're coating them in shellac. We also don't think it's okay to use animals for our entertainment or to keep them in captivity. Therefore, we do not agree or support horse riding, horse racing, dog racing, animals used in the circus, bullfighting, zoos, aquariums, SeaWorld, or breeding of pets. We don't agree with animal testing or vivisection for any reason. And we know that animal agriculture is the #1 cause of environmental damage and world hunger. Contributing to this is deforestation and the growing of crops to sell to the meat industry to fatten animals up. Crops that could feed starving children. And if everybody adopted a vegan diet, there would be no hunger in the world and animals needn't suffer. It's proven that animals are sentient beings that feel pain and emotion. So as you can see, veganism is a way of life, and as mentioned, it's a social justice movement. We see unfairness and inequalities in the world and are helping to put a stop to it, and we certainly feel better for not contributing to it. So often veganism is confused with simply being a diet, but it's not a diet. It's so much more, and I could go into it in more detail, but we simply don't have the time tonight. So as Arbonne consultants, have a think about how you can approach vegans with your business. What I will say is, don't assume vegans give two hoots about health. The majority of vegans that I know, particularly the younger ones, although I don't want to generalise, they become vegan for the animals. There are those that care about health too, but this is generally the exception to the rule. But I still think that people get confused between veganism and a plant-based diet. So someone who chooses a plant-based diet is doing it for themselves, to lose weight, to be healthier, cure a medical issue. Yes, essentially it's vegan because they're not eating meat or fish, dairy or eggs, but there's no vegan sentiment behind it. Now, this can come later, of course, so I'm not criticising it in any way, and it's a positive step in the right direction. But eating a plant-based diet is for oneself and does not make you vegan, especially if you continue to purchase anything that contains animal ingredients. Likewise, someone can be 100% vegan for the animals and never consume anything that remotely resembles a plant, such as chips, biscuits, cakes, crisps. People do live on these atrocious diets, believe it or not. So as you can see, health and wellness isn't always a priority to vegans. But we did ask on Facebook if anyone had any questions they'd like answered about vegans that might help with their businesses in some way. And I'll just cover a couple now, briefly, because I know we're running out of time. Somebody asked why vegans purchase products from cheaper drugstores like Superdrug or Boots, particularly when they sell other products that aren't vegan. And the simple answer to that is availability and affordability. There just simply aren't that many places where you can buy certified vegan products. And for people that are on a tight budget, those types of places are obviously ideal because they're affordable. But really the same can be said for supermarkets. You know, vegans have to buy food, but supermarkets do also fund the dairy and meat industry as well. But, you know, we're limited for options. So all I can do is go back to the definition and say we do the best that we can with the resources that we've got. Another question is, how would a non-vegan Arbonne consultant come across to a vegan? And I can only answer this from my point of view. And I'd want my consultant to have integrity and definitely not promote themselves as something they're not. If you wear leather shoes, you won't be shot for it. Some vegans also wear leather because they purchased it before they became vegan, and that's perfectly fine. So just be honest and say, you know, you're not vegan, but you're researching it and you respect it and you're interested to learn more from them. Explain that the company you work with produce vegan products that you think they would really love, and take it from there, really. But do be careful about joining vegan groups on Facebook if you have no intention of trying veganism yourself, because you will be found out. And if you do recommend Arbonne products, people see through it and are therefore sceptical. And I have seen that there's a bit of a bad reputation on some of the sites at the moment that I visit, describing Arbonne reps as pushy and using sales tactics at every opportunity and pestering people with private messages. So it's not really the image Arbonne wants, and it's probably counterproductive in the end because vegans are noticing it and they feel they're being used as a target group. So that's something to think about. Now, I'm just conscious of the time, and I know Stacey needs to talk. I did have some more to say, but I'll let Stacey talk, and if we have any time at the end, I'll just add a few more bits.
Hi, I'm Stacey, and basically I was introduced to Arbonne by the lovely Danny. I commented on one of her posts on a vegan site, I think, actually, and then from there we just sort of got chatting, and it's really what I wanted to do. Like Bianca said, the whole vegan product really is what sold it for me as well, because there's not much out there, and you want good quality, healthy products, not full of, you know, chemicals. So yeah, that's why. That really got, you know, ticked a lot of boxes for me. But I know we haven't got a lot of time, so I'm going to go through a few things about the health. Basically, a lot of questions we get are, what about protein? What about B12? What about the calcium? What about iron? You know, you have to consume meat for these reasons. Well, that's not true. Protein we get from beans, lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, so many other seeds and beans and legumes in general. B12, you can get a lot of plant-based milk, which are filled with B12, calcium. You can get yeast extracts and nutritional yeast as well, is a really good supplement that vegans use to make like a cheesy sauce, like mac and cheese. Calcium, believe it or not, is a big myth that you have to drink milk for that, because actually it's been proven that it leaches the milk from your butt, but calcium from the gums, and is quite a big cause for osteoporosis. So yeah, we have lots of spinach, rocket, cabbage, kale, oranges, chickpeas, almonds. Like I said, the fortified milk, broccoli, parsley, are all things that are really good for that. Iron, recommended daily iron is 10 to 15 micrograms a day. You get dried fruits, whole grains, nuts, leafy greens, veggies, seeds, pulses, soya, black molasses, which are great in. If you were there yesterday, I made some bars, granola type vegan power bars. Everyone tried that with molasses, and that had everything in it that you can possibly think of. Vitamin C, so oranges, potatoes, cabbage, green leafy veg, and stuff like that. So as you can see, we definitely don't need meat and dairy or eggs for all of our healthy things. Basically, as you know in the news, there's been lots of information about processed meat and how it's linked to cancer and various other health issues. Also, red meat as well is a massive contribution to colon cancer and stuff like that. So as you know about processed meat being in the news, it's the same, quality as having cigarettes, asbestos and arsenic, which is quite scary just by consuming those meats. And also, when you consume meats and dairy, you know that they're actually full of pesticides and growth hormones. So whenever an animal has been injected with all those, you're ingesting that when you eat the meat too. So, it's a lot of health benefits. Obviously, you can get organic meat and stuff like that, but ultimately, the processed meat still has a negative effect on your health. I know we haven't got much time, so I just wanted to say, so if you want to know more, then please feel free to message us.
That was fantastic. Oh, I can hear myself.
I just wanted to say one thing, actually. The reason I became vegan was, like Bianca said, was for health reasons. Because I suffer with ulcerative colitis and other issues. And actually researching it, I would still have the odd bit of dairy or odd egg, but researching what happens to the animals has completely changed my view. There was no way ever I would ever go back to dairy or eggs, even in the chocolate bar. So I've resorted to making my own. Thanks.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you, Bianca. That was really, really great. And as the chat was like going crazy, everyone was talking on it, saying how great that was. And I said on the chat, a massive portion of our client base are people that do lead a vegan lifestyle. So I think it is really important, even if you are a consultant that doesn't lead a vegan lifestyle, that's perfectly okay. But to actually have a better understanding of your client, so that you understand why it is so important for them. So I think that's been a really, really great call for all of us to listen to your views and why it's important in terms of health aspects and in terms of the passion for the animal aspect. So that was really, really good, really well put together, really clear, really easy to understand. I'm sure if people have got questions, you'll both be happy to answer them. Bianca, did you want to say something then?
Can you hear me? No, it was just to say, if people do have some more questions, a lot of them can be answered in a few documentaries that you can get on Netflix and YouTube. One is called Earthlings and one is called Cowspiracy, and that will give you a lot more information. Cowspiracy is more about the environmental impact of animal agriculture, and Earthlings is not an easy watch, but give it a go, and it explains a lot about why veganism is important.
Fabulous. So thank you both of you so much. And I just let me just mute Stacey. Oh God.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's just the bounce back.
Forks Over Knives is a really good one.
Forks Over Knives.
Side of things, yeah.
Yeah. But that was fabulous training from you both. So thank you so much, both of you, for putting that together. And I just want to say a massive well done to both of you as well, because both of you haven't actually had your business for that long, and you put together an amazing training. So well done, Bianca. Well done, Stacey. And I'm sure lots of us look forward to hearing trainings from you both again on all different aspects. So thank you. That was really, really great. And thank you, everybody that's given up your time tonight to come onto the training, our weekly online training, which is obviously the same time next week, every Sunday at 9 o'clock. Have a really fantastic week, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday. Bye, everyone.